Welcome. I'm Alice Alicia Jones, and this is another one of my Living Consciously videos. I love to say the same intro because it kind of calms me down and prepares me for what's to come next. I just recently had a new client that found me off of YouTube, and he came into my Reiki room and he recognized that this is where I do my live videos from because he recognized the shelf of angels and the picture. And so one of these days, I'm going to walk you around the Reiki room because every single wall has something special on it, or on top of the cabinet, or on top of the dresser, or whatever. So, anyway, I love my Reiki room. I love the energy in it. It just vibrates, it pulses because probably the most prayers have been said in this room. And it's not only filled with lovely sacred pictures and statues, but also crystals, which I'm so fond of. And so today we're going to continue. We're going to do all the clairs. There is actually 7 of them. And the word clair audience, which is today's topic, that comes from the French word for clear hearing, clairaudience. And I'm going to be discussing the different ways that this can show up for you. One of the most common, and this has probably happened to everyone, the phone will ring. It doesn't matter if it's a home phone, most people don't have that anymore, or your cell phone. No one's there. And all I can tell you is tune into who you think might be trying to reach you, because that is the person you need to shoot a prayer to, shoot the light of grace to, do a bridge of your heart from your heart with white twinkly lights, which I see as a bridge of light, the light of grace. So just know that you have manifested that for a reason. And usually the person that shows up in your mind's eye is the person requesting the attention. So be cognizant of that. This is what these videos are all about, increasing your awareness. Another way is to hear your name called, and no one is in the house. My favorite name from one of my deceased family members is Ellis, from my father. He could never pronounce Alice, so he always said Ellis. And I will periodically hear that called out, and I know that he's around, he needs my attention. So I tune into him. So listen for that. Listen for your name. Another is channeling, and I'm going to do that last because there's so much that's important with channeling that I want you to be able to have time to get a paper and pencil to take down some of the information. But in the event some of you are out there that would like to have an experience in channeling, it just so happens that tomorrow will be the last time this year that I will lead a channeling class from 9 to 11:30 on Eastern time. And the cost is $35. It's available through my website, www.alicia, ALICJAJones.com. This next one, this is beautiful. This is called the music of the spheres. Remember, you are hearing something in clairaudience that not everyone else is hearing. In the music of the spheres, you are actually hearing music. And I have heard it twice. My understanding with the music of the spheres is that it plays at all times. There is only one person on this planet who claims that she hears it constantly, continuously. And her name is Nicole Levi. She is one who produced a whole bunch of tapes and CDs on sounds that affect your emotional and mental field. So she claims she hears this. But the two times that I heard it, the first time I literally woke up in the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m., walked over to the window because I thought a car had stalled there, and this heavenly, exquisite singing was coming from the cul-de-sac. And I thought, "Oh my god, who would be playing such loud music at this time of the night?" I looked out, there wasn't anybody there, but yet that music continued and continued and continued. It was a vocal chorus, not unlike the vocal choruses like in, the Alleluia chorus in, Handel's Messiah, but just very, very beautiful music, not related to, had nothing to do with Alleluias, had nothing to do with Handel's music. The second time I heard it, I was in a performance. I was listening to a performance by one of my friends who had invited three of us to join her at her presentation and I believe I'm doing this from memory. I believe it was Oberlin College. It was next to Trinity College in the same area that Catholic University is. And so as we're listening to a vocal, I'm sorry, an instrumental presentation for part of the what was happening there, what was being presented. All of a sudden, this amazing chorus started to sing, and it felt very nationalistic. It felt like it was extremely um, uplifting, meant like a call to arms, very militaristic. And I just kept looking as to where is this music coming from? I'd look around, I'd look behind me, I'd look to the side of me, couldn't see a single source of where that music could be coming from. And at the end of the presentation, I turned to the gal next to me and I said, "Wasn't that music incredible? Wasn't that singing incredible?" And she looked at me and she says, "What singing?" And then the gal next to her turned to me and said, "Wasn't the singing amazing?" And I said, "You heard it?" And she said, "Yeah." And so two of us, and the gal next to me didn't hear it. The gal who was singing, who had been part of the presentation, didn't hear it either. So in meditation the next day, I asked my guides, I said, "What did I hear? But more importantly, who did I hear? What was that all about?" And what the answer was, "You heard the guides of the people who were in the French Revolution. So they were being guided to fight to the death because they were fighting for freedom from an autocracy to a democracy." And so right now, it's extremely important that you pay attention to anything like that because I feel too that we as a democracy are on the cusp of fighting for our freedom from an autocracy, those who would become autocratic leaders. So that was extremely exciting. The next thing that might happen to you, and which would fall under the category of clairaudience, is you think of someone and all of a sudden you run into them on the street. Could be someone you haven't seen in years. Or you think of them, they call you. Or you think of them and somebody else mentions them to you where they're not a typical point of conversation with you. So know that that too is a clairaudient gift. The next is ringing in your ears. I know throughout the years, my mother would say, "Which one is ringing?" And we'd guess right, left, right, and she would have it happen periodically. I'm not going to say once a year, but I would say about once every couple years, she would have ringing in her ears, which I never really associated with clairaudience, but apparently it is. And now I'm going to finish up with channeling because channeling is what and how I composed my book, paying attention to the spiritual messages coming into me. And the again, that book is 750 pages. It's a hardcover and it's on a special for $20 from now through the end of December. So please do know that you can get a hardcover book. And I just want to show you something that I felt was so amazing. Not only did they give me a gorgeous cover, but they even embossed the cover of the book with gold in at Own Your Power. And I just loved it. The everything in that book was guided by spirit. So channeling is where you tap into other voices, voices that are coming in outside of yourself, voices that are coming in through you rather than from you. What most people do not recognize, you have two minds. You have an ego mind and you have a spirit mind. Your ego mind, left brain, part of your thinking apparatus, part of your ability to reason, logic, things like this. Spirit mind, right brain, part of your ability to intuit. You don't know how you know, but you know that you know. And so you are a creature that was designed with the greatest gift, and that is the ability to create as God creates through thought. Thought comes through your mind. And who helps you with that thought are your spirit guides. And I know the very first time when I started to write on a very consistent level, rather than just here and there, like capturing on a slip of paper, consistently writing, intentionally writing. There was a point where I reread what I had written, and I realized that every time I heard the word "my child" after a certain, with a day's writing, that was Saint Michael talking to me, because after about 6 months, he the statement came in, "I am Saint Michael, my child." And so then I associated those 2 words, "my child," and I went back to the beginning, and I saw that he had been with me from the beginning. He had always been there. but I didn't recognize that. I heard voices, didn't really pay attention to who it was. The one voice from the Bible that did tell me point blank who was speaking to me without me prompting it was Tobias. And as soon as he said Tobias, I said, "You mean like in the Bible?" And he goes, "The same." And so I laughed and I thought, wow, that's kind of intriguing to get Tobias as the being that first identified himself as having contacted me, because I just presumed that I would be, if whoever contacted me would be from the angelic realm. I never really thought of anybody else. But I learned very, very quickly that you, by setting your intention, can channel anybody. There was one time where I was practicing channeling people that had passed whom I was fond of or enamored with or in awe of. And one of those that came filtering through my consciousness was JFK. And so I thought, I started to write and I started to channel, and then my left brain kicked in and I go, nah. And I kind of scratched everything I had written, started again. Same exact words came in that came in the first time. And I realized, oh, this is JFK. Don't doubt. And that's the lesson I want to leave with you above all lessons. In order for you to get more information from spirit, you have to trust what you get. That is the baseline. That is your foundation. You have to build trust into what you do. Without trust, what you're doing is you're just rocking back and forth. You're not advancing in your spiritual work. With trust, you get something, you trust it, you get something, you trust it, you get something, you trust it. You move forward. You doubt, you move back. You doubt, you move back. You get something, you doubt, you move back. So you're, like I said, you're just rocking back and forth. You're not advancing. So please do trust what you get. You can set your intent to channel anybody, anything, any place, any object, any being. That is totally up to you. You set the parameters of what you want to listen to. You can channel your wall. You can channel your table. You can channel your anything you see outdoors. Chances are you'll get the fairy kingdom, the David kingdom, because every single uh, item that is made has a deva attached to it. And every single blade of grass has a fairy attached to it. Every flower has a fairy attached to it. One thing I will warn you, if you do start channeling the David kingdom, the fairies, the elves, the gnomes, the brownies, the trolls, they are mischievous and they can lead you down a merry path and they can make things disappear for you. But that's a subject of another story. So, another day. You can chat. One of the beings that is commonly available to us is the Blessed Mother. Mary comes in the form of Mary, the mother of Jesus. She comes in the form of Isis from Egypt. She comes in the form of Kuan Yin for the uh, Eastern, the Eastern religions, and she has many other incarnations in different cultures that I'm not aware of. I am aware of one that's called the Black Madonna. I thought that the Black Madonna was exclusive to Poland. not so. Because the story that I had heard was that the Matka Boska, which is Mother of God, Częstochowa, which is the specific town in Poland, and because the Matka Boska Częstochowa is the patron saint of Poland, that her face, her hands, the face and hands of the baby Jesus blackened when the church that this picture was hanging in was attacked. And because it was attacked, it was burned. Only the wall that she hung on was saved. And one of the Moors went and slashed her face. So she's got two slash marks on her face, and they started bleeding. And that was enough to cause them to leave, to absolutely leave the area. But that picture probably has been the scene of maybe 10,000, maybe 20,000 miracles. Everybody who has ever been cured of something has left evidence in the church of what they were cured of. So it's just an amazing, amazing church, amazing energy in the church. And at the time I got to see it, there was a wedding, and it was just beautiful to watch how adoringly the bride, the prospective wife of her of the man was looked up at her husband to be. Just incredible. The other thing is also Mary Magdalene. She's representative of the divine feminine. She is known as the mother of, the bride of Jesus, and it's stated that the wedding at Cana was actually his wedding and her wedding together. So anyway, she is there, and she comes in and is easily able to be channeled if you have a specific devotion to the divine feminine. Saint Bridget comes in with the divine feminine. Saint Germain is a person that one of his past lives was the father of Jesus, and he's also the patron saint of families. So he is known in metaphysical circles as the main guide of Shakespeare. And because there is a group out there that basically says there is no way that a country bumpkin like Shakespeare could have had privileged information to the inner workings of the court, or there are so many things that Shakespeare brought that were factually correct, that they felt that an unschooled farmer could not possibly have this information, no matter how gifted, no matter how clever he was. But if you have a guide like Saint Germain, absolutely you can channel incredible information. One of the beings that is in spirit right now, who's toying with the idea of incarnating, is Tesla. But there are many, many young people reaching out to Tesla for information. And he is, like I said, he's on the cusp of making his decision as to whether or not he wants to incarnate again. Because his big deal that he wanted to leave everybody on the planet with was free energy. And interestingly enough, Elon Musk, now who owns the Tesla Corp, or who started the Tesla Corporation, is that's one of the proponents he's coming forth with, is free energy. And of course, there's angels, there's archangels, there's ascended masters. And if you want, there's your ancestors. So you have a whole slew of beings as well as anything that you see that you can channel. So, like I said, that I wanted to leave this for last because I just feel it's so, so, so important. And if you want to have more practical experience, join me tomorrow at 9 to 11:30. The class will be available on Zoom as well as in person, and it's $35. And if you need a meditation book, there's none better than Own Your Power. I thank you. I bless you. I hope you have a great week. If you need any information, more information, my website is www.alicia, which is spelled ALICJA Jones.com. I will see you next week. And next week we'll continue with the Clairs and we'll go with Clair cognizance, which is clear knowing. Very interesting topic. So we thank you and we hope that you have a very glorious week. Bye now.